You'll start by using the table saw to cut a dado around the outside of your box. Here I'm just cutting one just to show you the process, but you would continue that 3 more times. Then you're going to put some glue into the dados that you cut on the table saw and insert the inlay. In this case, this is a walnut inlay. That one should actually be pushed over a little bit more, as you see at the end of the clip. We're going to let that hang off the end. That one's quite a bit too long. Really, it just needs to stick out a little bit more. Then I'll put glue in the next dado. Just a little bit of glue so you don't have a lot of cleanup to do. And then you're going to slide that in there and make sure it's butted up against the first inlay, but make sure you don't push that out. And then you'll continue working around. You don't want to wait too long because then the glue will become too tacky and you won't be able to make any adjustments that you need. So slide that in there right up against the first inlay. Push it back in if you need to. Make sure both sides are tight. Keep working around in the circle. So this one you'll have to hold up off the ground, so of course it's out of the camera's view. You just get a look at my wrist here. Oh, I got some glue on my wrist. That's okay, I'll wash it off in a second. So this is where I messed up at the beginning. This one should have actually been pushed in and up to that dado so this one could slide in. But because the glue was still wet, I could move that one and make those adjustments. So I'm going to push all of those in firmly. Make sure that they're all tight up against each other, that the end is butted up against the next one all the way around. And then I just wait. You could probably wait 30 minutes before the next step, but you probably will wait until the next day. So this is a Japanese pull saw. It cuts on the pull. What you want to do is put your finger on top like this and point it. It'll help your brain to cut straight. I'm not pushing down very much at all. You really don't have to push down. The weight of the saw is enough to cut through. So you just slide the saw back and forth and let it do the cutting on the pull. Try to use the full length of the saw. Really, it only takes 2 or 3 cuts. It's better to make light cuts than heavy cuts so that you don't break the wood off. You want nice clean cuts, and this Japanese saw is designed to cut flush with the side of the material, in this case the box. So you work your way around, and most importantly, make sure you don't run into any metal with the saw, because if you bend the teeth or dull the teeth, you can't sharpen these types of saws, so be very careful with that. Put it back in the sheath when you're done. And give those back to me so I can use them in another box. Alright, this is a block plane, so the inlay will stick out slightly from the side and we want it to be smooth and flush. So there's some wood in the blade I'm going to clear out. I'm going to put my finger on top like that. It'll help my brain go straight. And then I'm going to very lightly plane off that extra walnut. You can see it's coming off nicely as it comes out of the top of the plane. You can check it and you can feel it with your other hand. And when it feels smooth, you can move on to the other side. This is going to plane better from this side at this point. And when that side's done, I'm going to rotate the box and then continue around. You can clean out the mouth as you work. So I feel it. And then I continue. Now if you see the birch shavings coming out like you can in this shot, then you know that the walnut inlay has been planed down enough, and then you can move on to a different spot. So you want to look at the color of the shavings that are coming out of the mouth of the plane so that you know by look and by feel if you've planed that down all the way flat. Should if you do it correctly, it should only take a few passes. And you don't need to push the plane along the whole length, just the spots that are high. Now this would also work if you put it in a vise to hold it, but the box is big enough that you should be able to hold it with one hand and plane with the other hand.